Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today the Atlanta Falcons beat the Philadelphia Eagles 22-21 Monday Night Football. Great win for the Falcons, man. Great comeback win for the Atlanta Falcons. Great performance by Kirk Cousins, and a really good game for Kirk, especially for a guy who's playing his second game back from tearing his Achilles less than a year ago. So, yeah, love to see Kirk Cousins thriving in his second game as an Atlanta Falcon and beating the Philadelphia Eagles. And both teams go to 1-1. So it definitely was an interesting game to say that. And something I want to talk about early on is that I've been really impressed with how good so far we've been. We've been lucky to have some great national television games early on this season. Last year, I was very disappointed. Really, these last couple years, not a lot of great national television games as I think there should be. These first 2 weeks, it's a great start off because start off the season, Kansas City and Baltimore. That was a great game. Came down to the last play of the game. The Ravens were a toe away from potentially winning the ball game. Only reason I say potentially winning the ball game is because, yes, would a touchdown tie the game? Yes, of course, it probably would have gone to overtime. But no, the Ravens were going to go for two. So who knows if they would have won, even if they got the touchdown, because they would have gone for two. Then go to the next day, Friday in Brazil, you have the Packers and the Eagles. That was a shootout, 34-29. Eagles win. Then Sunday Night Football, amazing game in Detroit between LA and Detroit. Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff going at it. Goes to overtime. Lions win in overtime. Monday Night Football, it wasn't a close game between the Jets and the 49ers, but it was great to see Aaron Rodgers back. We saw some good throws by Rodgers last week on Monday Night Football, and he did some solid things. It wasn't a close game, but I would say it was entertaining. You had an undrafted free agent, Jordan Mason, absolutely killing it, and you had Aaron Rodgers back on the football field, and he did some good things. Another guy coming back from a torn Achilles. So credit both Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers coming back, from some tough injuries and looking pretty good to start off the season, both of them. And then Thursday Night Football this week, you had the game between the Bills and the Dolphins. I will say that has really, for me, been the only national television game this year early on that was disappointing. Although I thought it was pretty interesting to see what the Bills were doing last Thursday night. James Cook looked amazing on the run game, so it was a terrible game, to be honest. It wasn't a close game. It was a terrible game, but the Bills were putting a lot of points on the board. And then to finish it off, Sunday Night Football last night, the Texans and Bears was kind of interesting. I mean, I know there weren't a lot of points, 19-13, but if you ask me, you have C.J. Stroud throwing 260 passing yards, Nico Collins getting 120 receiving yards. The Texans are, making 3 50-yard field goals and a 47-yard field goal, and the Texans only win by 6 points. It was a close game, and he's good. And him and the Texans are, meaning C.J. Stroud and the Texans are going up against the number 1 overall pick. That's a good game for me. And then here's tonight, and we're going to get into this game from tonight. Falcons beat the Eagles 22-21, and this was a great game. It kind of gave me flashbacks to 2017 Falcons and Eagles in the divisional round playoffs, and I loved watching that game. It was a low-scoring game, and crazy enough, same score at the end of the third quarter. The first three quarters reminded me of that divisional round playoff game. Same score. The only difference was the Falcons were up 15-10 going into the fourth quarter. The Eagles won that matchup against the Atlanta Falcons 15-10 in the divisional round, which sent them to the NFC Championship game the year they won the Super Bowl. So, that was a fun playoff game, and I remember that came right down to the end. The Falcons had a chance to score in the end zone, and they couldn't. That was with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, and he had a chance to have a touchdown catch, Julio Jones, but the Eagles won. They won the Super Bowl too that year. So I thought this game early on reminded me of that game Now the way this game ended off, there was nothing like that wild card game. But the start of this game, the way the things played out in the first three quarters was a lot like that divisional matchup between these two teams. The end of it was definitely not, though. Let's go to the scoring summary. Younghoe Koo started off the scoring with a 39-yarder. It's 3-0. And then Jalen Hurts has a 7-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. It's 7-3. Younghoe Koo finishes off the second quarter with a 22-yard field goal. All the scoring was in the second quarter in the first half, none in the first. Third quarter, Younghoe Koo gives the Falcons their first lead with sorry. They did get on the board first with the first field goal. So 9-7, their second lead. And then Jake Elliott with 4 minutes remaining in the third, 29 yards, 10-9. Kirk Cousins throws a 41-yard touchdown bomb to Darnell Mooney, and with that, the Falcons take a 15-10 lead. They go for the 2-point conversion, and it is no good. 15-10. Jalen Hurts with a 1-yard touchdown run with 6 minutes and 47 seconds. They go for the 2-point conversion. Saquon Barkley gets it. Love to see that as a Barkley fantasy owner, I guess that's what you're supposed to say. And it's 18-15, and then minute and 39 seconds left. Jake Elliott makes a 20-yard field goal. Really tough situation here. Eagles go for it on third and 3. They pass to Saquon Barkley. Barkley drops it. Probably should have ran the ball right there. Now, I wonder if throwing to Barkley was not the original plan. I'm just guessing. Maybe the original plan could have been Jalen Hurts running the football and potentially shocking the Falcons defense. And then instead of Hurts running, he decided he was gonna, switch it up and pass it to Saquon. I don't know. That's just that was a random guess of mine. But I don't know what was going on there. Was it a good idea? No. Was it? Did they do everything perfect? Yes, but what it came down to was Barkley dropping the pass. So was it smart? Absolutely not. But did it nearly almost work? Yes. But I thought it was actually kind of I'm not gonna say there was something they should have done, but it almost nearly did work for them. But it was so stupid that they did it, and that left a minute and 39 seconds on the clock, and the Falcons scored. But here's what I gotta say. Here's what I'm gonna say. Honestly, I think it wasn't so terrible after all. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Because just the way I'm thinking of it is, if the Falcons defense stopped the run. If the Falcons defense stops the run, which honestly, I like Barkley. He was having a great game, but I have this weird feeling the Falcons defense stops the run. But if the Falcons defense stops the run right there, the Falcons still have the ball with a minute and 9 seconds. Kirk Cousins drive them down the field in a minute and 5 seconds. I think the Falcons still score a touchdown regardless. But anyways, yeah, it ended off with a Drake London 7-yard touchdown reception from Kirk Cousins. They went for the extra point, of course, and made it 22-21. But it was actually a 48-yard extra point as well. But my point is that, in my opinion, I just think that, this is the way I think, but in my opinion, I think that if, I think the Falcons still would have won this game regardless. And the Eagles actually got the ball back with 34 seconds with 2 timeouts. So, I don't know how. Obviously, the Eagles didn't win this game. They ended up throwing an interception. But I think most likely, just my prediction, I think the Falcons defense stops the run, which then ends up turning into a field goal for Jake Elliott. And I think the Falcons probably get the ball back with a minute 9 seconds, maybe a minute 5 seconds. Falcons scored in a minute and 5 seconds. Kirk Cousins had a lot of rhythm in that drive with no timeouts, so I don't think that's any different. Whether there's a minute and 39 seconds on the clock or a minute and 9 or a minute and 5 seconds on the clock. So it's just my opinion, though. So it was a tough loss for the Eagles. Should have ran the ball, yes, but I don't think it was going to work out regardless. I really don't think the run was going to work out for the Eagles in that situation. But was there a better chance of the run working out for them than throwing the pass to Saquon Barkley? Most likely, yes. So that was a tough decision by the Eagles right there. All right, game leaders. Kirk Cousins threw 20 for 29, 241 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts threw 23 for 30, 183 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. Bijan Robinson led the Falcons in rushing yards with 14 carries, 97 rushing yards. Saquon Barkley, 22 carries, 95 rushing yards. Darnell Mooney, 3 receptions for 88 receiving yards with 1 touchdown for the Falcons. I almost said Bears. Then Devontae Smith, 7 receptions for 76 receiving yards with 1 touchdown for the Eagles. Got to get used to Darnell Mooney being in a new uniform. Not too bad though for the Falcons in this game. Tyler Algier had 9 carries for 53 rushing yards. Hurts was amazing in the run game, 13 carries for 85 rushing yards and a touchdown. Gainwell had 2 carries for 6 rushing yards. Dallas Goedert had 3 receptions for 38 receiving yards. Britton Covey, I think it is, 6 receptions for 23 receiving yards. He kind of stepped up as the wide receiver too. Barkley had 4 receptions for 21 receiving yards. Remember, no A.J. Brown in this game tonight. Drake London, 6 receptions, 54 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. Ray McLeod, the third, who showed up in the Eagles uniform, 3 receptions for 42 receiving yards. Bijan Robinson, 4 receptions for 25 receiving yards. And then Kyle Pitts with 3 receptions for 20 receiving yards. Fumbles, Kirk Cousins did fumble, but it was recovered by Bijan. Defensive stats, Jesse Bates led the Falcons in tackles with 1 tackle for loss. Reed Blankenship led the Eagles in tackles with 10. 1 sack for the Falcons. It was Matt Judon. Funny thing, I had both the regular broadcast and the Manning cast on, and they had Bill Belichick on when Matt Judon got the sack, and obviously Coach Bill coached Judon in New England. He got fired up. I heard Bill getting fired up when Judon got that sack. It was kind of cool to hear. The Eagles had 1 sack as well, and that went to Milton Williams. 3 tackles for loss for them. The interception to end the game was for Jesse Bates III, who's obviously second year for the Falcons, was a great addition last year, and it's just going to continue to be great for this Falcons defense, and showed that in this game tonight with a tackle for loss, sealing an interception, leading them in tackles. So great game for Jesse Bates. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the Falcons winning 22-21 in the comment section, and peace out.